Okay, in this video we're going to talk about overriding. Overriding is different than overloading. Overloading, if you recall, it had the same method name but different parameters. In overriding, and they're within the same class. Overriding means I have the same name and parameters, but one exists in a parent class, one exists in a child class. So overriding, I create a method with the same name, same parameters, but one's in the child class and one's in the parent class. And that's because I may want to do something different in the child class than in the parent class. And when I call a method, the proper way it's going to go, it's if I call a method using the child class, it's going to go to the child class to look to see if the method exists. If it does exist, it will use it. If it doesn't exist, it goes to the parent class. So if I call the same thing in the child class as I do in the parent class, it will use the child class one. If I call it from using an object of the parent class, it will use the one that's in the parent class. So, okay. Here is a example where we have a class called student. And here we have set credits, and we're going to pass to it hours. It's going to return nothing, and hours is going to be a number, and it's void. And so that's one of the credits are one of the things, billable credits, and tuition is going to be based on what the number of credits are. So there's my student. I have 3 attributes and a set and a get for the ID number, a set and a get for the credits. And I only have a get for the tuition because the tuition is going to be based on how many credits I have. And the tuition is calculated using billable credits, as it says down here, times 100. So that's how I'll get my tuition. Now, this is the parent class, student. Now here is the child class, scholarship student. Notice again, the child points to the parent. And I have set credits, hours, and it's a number, and void. Why is that? Because no matter how many credits I take, my tuition is going to be 0 because I'm a scholarship student. So again, here is my student class. And if you look over here, set credits, and then I have rate per credit hour is 100. So hours will go into billable credits, and then billable credits times 100 will be tuition, and I'll set the tuition. I'll return the credits here. I'll return billable credits. I'll get the tuition, return the tuition. That's all in my student class. Now, there are 3 ways of creating scholarship students. I can create a special method in the scholarship student class with the names such as set scholarship student credits. However, then when I use the program, I'm going to have to remember, do I want to set scholarship student credits or do I want to set scholarship students? Or do I want to just set student credits? I can create a method in the scholarship student class with the same name as parent class, but different parameter lists. Again, that would be something else I'd have to remember. Or I can override the set credits method in the student class. And what that will do is, again, like I said, when I say set credits, if I'm in the scholarship student class, it's going to go to that one first. And if it's not there, it's going to go up to the parent class in the student class. And again, it's the best solution. Child class method is only used with the child class objects. And so here is my class scholarship student, inheriting from student. And actual credits is how many credits I'm taking. And so I say, okay, set credits. I get the number of hours. I set the actual credits. Super here means go up to the parent. Super dot set credits to 0. And so when I set credits to 0, it's going to go to here, set credit 0, and it's going to say 0 times 100. Tuition is 0. So super goes back up to the parent class or the base class, and then I return. So I will have the actual credits here, even though I set the credits up in the parent class to 0. And so it's just a demo here. Full-time is 15 credits. So now I have a student, a regular student, and I have scholarship student, a scholar. And so regular student, ID number I set credits, and it's going to be 15. Now I look at the object for a scholarship student, I'll set the ID number and set credits again to 15. Now I'll output the ID and I'll output a regular student object, get ID number, the tuition, a regular student dot get tuition. Output ID, a scholar, which is the scholarship student, get ID number, tuition, a scholar dot get tuition. So if I look here, it comes out ID 444 tuition 1500, ID 555 tuition 0. So that's kind of the slides. Let me get out of here, and again I have a little program. So let's bring it up. Here is the student class, ID number, billable credits, tuition, set ID number, get ID number, set credits, and here's where we look at, we get the number of hours. Then we say, okay, billable credits times 100 is going to be the tuition. And get credits, so I can get credits back, how many credits I have, and get tuition. Notice I don't set tuition because that's right here. Scholarship student inherits from student, that's what the colon means. And then I set credits, I get the number of hours, so I set the actual credits. And then I go base. In C# it's not super, Java it's super, in C# it's base. Base dot set credits 0. It will go here, put 0 in here for set credits, and set the tuition to 0. Everything else I inherit from the student class. But this right here, and notice here, in C# I do have to say override. So I say public override set credits. And if I look at student, public virtual set credits. This has to say virtual, meaning that I can override it. Void means I'm not returning anything. Here, public override, void means I'm not returning anything. But everything else is the same, set credits, hours, and it's being overridden. Again, that's C#. You don't have to worry about that in this class, just to let you know how it works in C#. So full-time is 15, and this is exactly what the slide showed. A regular student, I'm creating an object, regular student of a student class, and then a scholar, which is of class scholarship student. So I set the ID number, and I set the credits. So let's just run that. Okay, so I'm right here, and gotta make sure I hit the right key. Okay, so now if I look here, I'm setting the credits, the hours are 15. So billable credits is going to be 15. So if I look up here, billable credits 15, ID number is 111. So now we're going to calculate the tuition, which is 100 times 15, so it should be about 1,500. And there it is, 15,000. Oh, I did 1,000. I was more expensive than the book. So it's 15,000, that's why. And so we get out of here. And we come back to where I called it from. So now I'm going to do a scholar, set the ID number. And again, notice I'm in the student class. I'm inheriting from that. Scholarship student inherits all that. So I'll set the ID number, 222, okay. And now I'll set the credits. And now remember, both scholarship student has set credits and student has set credits. So let's go back to where I was. And so we'll set credits. And I'm in the scholarship student, the child class. And I'm going to set credits. Now, if this wasn't here, you'd say, oh, it's not here, so I'll have to go to the student class to find it. But since it's here, it says I'm going to do this, and I'm going to override the one that's in the parent class. So now hours are still 15. So I set the actual credits to 15. Now I'm going to go back to the parent class and set the credits with 0 there. So I'm over here somewhere. There we are. So 0 for the hours, billable credits. And so this should be my ID number for the scholarship student. And billable credits is 0. And tuition is 0, which is what we expected. But here, the actual credits are, oh, I'm on, gotta come back here. Actual credits are 15. So we return. So now I'm going to display a regular student. And now notice here, this is interesting. I'm passing the object regular student, and over here I call it a student. Same thing here, I can pass a scholar, which is this child. I can still call it student. They're both recognized as students. So I can pass either one of these objects and just use student defining, and it's going to be put into STU to display the information. So let's go back and do this. So now, if I look here, Stu is student app.student, and let's just write that out. So I'll just continue. And if I look, oops, I hit the wrong thing. Let's try that again. Continue. There we go. Student ID 11, tuition 15,000. Student ID 222, tuition 0. And so just a point here, since a scholar is a child of the parent being student, I can use student here, defining that this is an object I'm passing, and both of them will work. So just to show you that both of them work. So again, that is overriding. Again, is different than overloading. And again, we'll go over it again on Wednesday in case you have any questions. Thank you.